Yo, how's it going? Today I want to talk about how hard it is to be gluten-free in Japan. If you or someone you know is gluten-free and they are planning to travel or live in Japan, this video is kind of an overview of what you are getting yourself into. I'm going to talk about my experiences living in Japan gluten-free for over 5 years and what I have learned. And I've come up with 3 main reasons why it is incredibly hard to be gluten-free in Japan. Number 1 is a straight-up reality check. The majority of Japanese cuisine is not gluten-free. So you have dishes that obviously have gluten in it, like ramen, udon, katsu. These are based off of wheat. But even if you avoid those, a lot of Japanese cuisine still has hidden gluten in it. And this hidden gluten comes from soy sauce, miso, and dashi. Soy sauce is kind of the bane of gluten-intolerant people because the majority of Japanese, Korean, and Chinese food all has it in it. If soy sauce was gluten-free, it would be so easy to live in Asia, but it's not. For some reason, they put wheat in soy sauce. Miso, you probably know from miso soup, but it's actually used in a lot of dishes. And miso is just fermented soybeans, so it can be gluten-free, but a lot of brands do put wheat in it, so you definitely have to confirm whether or not the miso you're consuming is gluten-free or not. And then third is dashi. If you're not familiar with this is basically Japanese soup stock. So all your soup dishes will have this, like shabu shabu, nabe, and miso soup, but it's used in a lot of other dishes just as seasoning. And the traditional Japanese dashi is made from bonito flakes and kombu and is gluten-free, but a lot of restaurants use a pre-made dashi that can have wheat in it. So it is incredibly important to always confirm whether or not Japanese food has gluten in it, because you will not be able to tell just from looking at it. So many set meals here come with miso soup, and you are gambling with destroying your stomach by drinking that. You absolutely have to confirm whether or not that is gluten-free. But this can be hard because of the second reason why it's hard to be gluten-free in Japan, and that is because Japanese people often do not know the own allergens in their food. I can't tell you how many restaurants I've been to where I informed them of my food intolerance and then they serve me something with soy sauce in it. Just in my experience, the majority of Japanese people do not know that soy sauce has wheat in it. I've even been to Michelin-star sushi restaurants where the chef did not know that. And then just building on top of that, I've also been to so many restaurants where the meal comes with a miso soup and I ask them, is the miso soup gluten-free? And they literally have no idea what the allergens of the soup is. But on the flip side, I've been to a lot of restaurants, especially in like touristy areas like central Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, where these chefs are incredibly knowledgeable of all of the allergens and ingredients in all of their food and go out of their way to ensure me the food is gluten-free. And then other times I run into the third reason why it is incredibly difficult to be gluten-free in Japan, and that is because oftentimes Japanese people do not know how to accommodate food allergies. This can be basic things like changing the gloves, wiping down the surface, using a clean pan. Of course, it's not going to ensure that the food is 100% gluten-free, but it definitely minimizes the risk. But moreover than that, there's been so many times where I confirm with the waiter that something is gluten-free, but then it turns out it is cross-contaminated as heck. Maybe they use the same water to boil pasta with gluten-free pasta, or they use the same oil to fry gluten-free things with non-gluten-free things, so the oil is all contaminated. By far the biggest offender of this is yakitori, which is just grilled chicken skewers. You can get these either with shio or with a tare sauce that's usually based on soy sauce and it's not gluten-free, and they use the same grill to grill the gluten and non-gluten-free chicken skewers. So while yakitori theoretically is gluten-free, in practice I have found it is just straight up gambling because they cannot guarantee it is not cross-contaminated. And a lot of times the restaurant will just straight up deny me service saying, hey, like, we can't guarantee you the food isn't cross-contaminated. Like, we don't feel comfortable serving you. And I can respect that. So those are my top 3 reasons why it is hard to be gluten-free in Japan, and I believe by knowing these, you'll be better equipped to defend yourself from gluten while traveling here. You can have an amazing time in Japan gluten-free. If you need proof of that, look at my shorts. All the food showcased there is gluten-free, and a lot of times I've had to talk with the staff exactly the same things I've went over in this video. That can be hard though, so you can just get a card written in Japanese with all of these things I went over. I'll put a link to that down below in the description. I'm curious too, if you've traveled in Japan gluten-free, how was it for you? I think a lot of the things I went over in this video are not specifically issues with being gluten-free in Japan. I feel like a lot of other countries I've had the same issue. So I'm kind of curious, in your country, how hard is it to eat out gluten-free? Let me know down in those comments. Thank you.